Adam just spilled his beer on the computer. When I talk to my friend so quietly, who he think he is? Oh, what a full moon does to me. Dick sleeves don't even need to buy a new set. If you ain't there, ain't no. God damn it, Ozzy Nate. If you ain't there, ain't nobody else will regret. It's the way that you know that I got a brew. ETB in my heart nearly skips a few, but I still don't understand just how your love can do what no one else can. Vojo looking so crazy right now. My dogs got me looking so crazy right now. Voja looking so crazy right now. Your touch got me killing some chumps right now. Tosamir and your boys got me looking so crazy, got me looking so crazy in love. God damn it, I hate that song. I don't hate that song. It was so hard to do that fucking song. I did that so much.
I like halfway through that, I was like,
he's saying
he's
words.
Working really hard, and I have no idea what he's doing. But I did get it once you got to the hook.
Yeah,
so it's Crazy in Love by Beyonce, right? Okay.
Oh, damn it, Ozzy Nate. I love it, but it was so hard. I was trying to go through it, and I was like, fuck it, I'm just doing the end of it. And I was like, no, he wrote all this out. And I actually had it pretty good in the car driving down here. And
there's a lot of words there.
Yeah, it was brutal. The ending was awesome, though. Wasn't that awesome? You knew what it was.
I did. That makes it awesome.
Yeah. Welcome to CommanderSmiths.
We are the CommanderSmiths.
I am Adam Smith.
And I'm Lowry Smiths.
Don't worry.
Smiths. We're cousins.
Lowry Smiths?
Yeah. Well, there are like 4 of us in our family, so
that's a good point.
Speak for all of us.
There's 2 in this household.
Correct. One's napping.
Oh, sorry for that terrible rendition, but it was
no.
probably my worst.
Beyonce's probably going to sue us now, though. But
you know what I might do
complain.
is I'll just go to the beginning and just completely cut out that whole part, and you'll just have the hook at the end.
And then it's just going to be us talking weirdly about
how bad it was, and
but it's super
like,
short.
That was amazing.
Yeah, that's giving yourself some credit, but
it was amazing. I like that part.
Episode 71, really well. By the way.
All right, we got the "Don't worry, we're cousins" because that's one thing we normally forget. Sometimes we forget the episode. What other things we forget? And we normally get our plugs. We get our plugs in. Oh, why don't we get our plugs in? Because we actually got 2 new patrons this week.
Yeah, so I should probably have the paper in front of me. We had 2, as Adam just said. A Mr. Ramsey Hanley and another Mr. Ted Wallenstein.
Another Mr.
Steen, probably Wallenstein.
Wallenstein.
Probably should have asked him via email, which would have helped.
Which one?
Definitely would have helped.
But thank you guys. That is awesome. We just had mentioned we were like, we haven't gotten them for a while.
If you want to be awesome, you can become one of our patrons as well.
There you go.
That would help us in the future quite a bit and improve your listening and viewing experience.
Yes, because then eventually we get the cameras and everything going, and also you get the proxies that we make or the digi tokens. I just released 2 of them yesterday, 2 new digis.
Aura of Silence and the Howling Mind.
I did it more of as a basic. I didn't put Howling Mind, if you notice, at the top of it because I made it so that you can use it for multiple things, because there's a lot of things that make you draw, like if you play Nekasar or something like that. But that actually I want to make a Nekasar one because that one...
It deals damage.
Exactly. So, but I made it more general. I tried to get the original Howling Mind art, but it quality-wise sucked. Like, it's a good image. It's just there's no good images high quality, so it would have been all grainy and all that. So I used... What edition was that? Because did they have... You know the one that looks like the Aladdin cave? You know what I'm talking about? One of the Howling Minds? I think that came after this one, right? Like they splashed it in once and then it went back to this one? Or
this is like just a different... Like, it's a different view, because this one is like open mouth person cave as well, but it's a different angle. That's like 7th, 8th edition. Yeah. The one that I'm talking about, the Aladdin one? I don't know.
Do you know what Aladdin one I'm talking about?
No.
It looks like it has, you actually see
I haven't seen the most recent version.
Of Aladdin?
Yeah.
That's not what I'm talking. I'm talking about, they've even had, people have made proxies where they drew the actual Aladdin Howling Mind Cave.
I wouldn't have thought about that.
Cool story, Hansel. Anyways.
Riveting.
So, yeah, and the proxy of the week was... What was that this week? Oh, yeah, it was... beer. Reclamation Vista.
Yeah, I'm just...
He's opening beer.
He's going on
right by the microphone.
What are you going to do?
What are we drinking, Larry? What are you sharing with Adam today?
This is called a slow motion car wash from Able.
Slow motion for me. Slow motion for me.
That's a card name. And a song from Juvenile. Juvenile.
Yeah, that was a weird way to say juvenile. Juvenile. Hey, it's Juvenile.
Fruit ale. Able Brewery is out of Minneapolis.
Oh.
It is an ale made with lactose, blackberries, boysenberries, peaches, cherries, and raspberries.
I've never heard you read the ingredients before.
I've done it before. And this tastes a lot better when it's cold, so you're lucky.
That is pretty good.
Yeah, warm, it tastes like a little bit too yeasty, which is kind of vomity. But with it being cold, it's pretty tasty this way.
Yeah, definitely a good cold drinking beer. So yeah, whoa, that was a cum bubble.
Jesus. Don't let them know what we do before the episode. What are you doing?
Don't worry, we're cousins.
We just lost about 50 listeners. But if you tell other people, we might gain more. Yeah. Oh, cum bubbles involved, huh?
They talk about that in the first 5 minutes of the show.
Yeah.
But what beer did you not share with me? Did you even post one this week? I didn't notice.
I did.
Was it a Nebraska one?
No.
You can keep not sharing those with me.
I don't remember what it was.
Whatever. There's so Larry also does go on Twitter for the so that was tying in the proxies and everything. Twitter's where you can kind of see the proxies and the digicards. Also, Larry will post you get a trade per week, right? I mean, that's where you're getting from
I'm
cards.
Getting a trade or two. Yeah. When the cards are together, that means that was one trade, and then if they're separated, that means two. Or three.
You mean in the picture?
Generally,
in the picture if they're separated? Okay.
I'll get like 2 or 3 a week. So it's pretty consistent. I think
Nice.
I've only missed like 1 week.
So yeah, we got that going weekly. You got not sharing with Adam, and then also the proxies and everything. But then you can also go on YouTube and check out our video. We did finally posted Battle Boxes. Sorry, it took about a week. It's a week late. It just there was life happening in between. So last week was crazy busy. I had to get my continuing education done, work on my house, and we had the podcast and all that crap going on, and it was just insane. And we had the bachelor party.
One.
You did
There's
what?
a big can of Cosmosis raspberry. It was like a fruit.
Was it good?
Yeah, it was very tasty. And then it was like a big can.
You know what we should do is like
then the little box of pizza. It looked really weird.
At the end of the year, we should just do a party of you sharing with Adam party.
Probably not.
Play drinking magic that night and just share all the beer that you didn't share with me.
Do you know how expensive it'd be?
Yeah. You gotta
this
save
is
one.
already expensive. I feel pressure to drink more.
Oh, poor Lowry. You got to drink more beer. Okay, and then so I said Battle Boxes.
Yeah, that'll be. I didn't end up getting to watch it. It's
so you
really
should go
riveting.
check out Battle Boxes because
really awesome.
One of us won.
That would be accurate. It was not a tie.
It could be a tie.
I know. It does look
one
like
of the guesses was a tie.
The picture has 2 shots on it.
I know.
I mean,
you did look at the video.
I did see it, and then I was like, I don't want to watch this. I don't want to watch this garbage.
Oh, you're such an ass. And then you can go on our Gmail, shoot us an email, CommanderSmiths@gmail.com. That's where we're getting a lot of song requests. I have them lined up. You have them lined up.
No, I'm out.
You're out? No, you have one coming up next episode?
Sure, yeah.
But, I mean, we've been getting lots of requests there. Actually been interacting with a lot of people. Found out there's another person that lives kind of in the same area that I'm at in St. Cloud. What the fuck? Adam just spilled his beer on the computer. All right, so that was the last 10-15 minutes of dealing with that because after
don't spill.
Yeah, after I spilled the beer, all of a sudden Lowry's mic no longer was
dropped out.
Yeah, and so we were going for another couple minutes, and I was like, "You have no sound on yours," and so we had to correct all that.
So now I got to repeat myself.
Oh, you don't like doing that, Lowry?
No, I don't. I like repeating what you just said, not what I just said.
Good point. Good point.
So Corset 2020. Just came out within basically a week. We're about 50 cards short, so we're just going to do a full set review because fuck it.
Yeah.
They're probably just commons.
They have I think, what did I say? There's 15 Mythics or something like that, and they have
Mythics
51 rares, which you normally have between 53 and mid to upper 50s rares. So I think we have a lot of them, and
they're going to be shitty anyway.
The ones that are left, they normally get the good ones in the beginning, and then the last ones are like in with the commons and everything. They're like,
we'll never talk about it.
Well, then we'll make mention to it on Twitter if it's something amazing.
Also, this is a core set, so there will be reprints, but we will not talk about them. We might make mention of them, but we won't go in depth or anything.
So, buckle up, guys, because here comes another core or a set review, because we just did one not that long ago. It's back to back to back to back. It's okay. So it's crazy because they I know we mentioned it, but they spoiled cards from this before Modern Horizons even came out.
Yeah, it's the 3 Chandra Planeswalkers.
Insane how fast this came. But let's get started. Why don't you start us off? We're going to start with Mythics and work our way down. So we need to make it bigger?
Planeswalkers have a lot of words. And so they...
Can you see that?
No.
All right, so I will start with the first card. Ajani, Strength of the Pride. It is our white Planeswalker. It is 2 and 2 white. Ajani, of course, comes in with 5 loyalty. You gain life, or +1 is you gain life equal to the number of creatures you control plus the number of Planeswalkers you control. That's pretty sweet in itself.
Yeah, I feel like you're already going to be running Ajani with probably a token style deck.
For sure. And then you're gaining at least...
it should be a bunch of life,
yeah.
Right?
Well, I mean, with just him, you gain a life.
True that.
And then -2, create a 2/2 white cat soldier. Creature token named Ajani Pridemate with whenever... Oh, it's the same as Pridemate. So whenever you gain life, put a 1/1 counter on that. I actually didn't read that part. That's pretty sweet.
So you don't even have to print tokens of this. You just keep all of your reprinting cards of it and just slam them down.
Didn't they? They just put them in Modern Horizons, didn't they?
No.
Or is that
it would have been in War of the Spark.
Is that what it was?
And it was in last year's core set.
Yeah.
But
right.
It's already Modern Legal, so it wasn't in Modern
we
Horizons.
go. So it got printed. Yeah, it must have been War of the Spark that they reprinted them. They had them with different art that time.
Art. Yeah. Correct.
And then it's
Ultimate. He was in a low squad on that one.
Yeah.
Super low squad.
Is that the one you want to use? I actually like the one where he's just standing there. It looks kind of badass.
Kind of like not sure where he's going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the best
one. I'm lost. I'm a cat.
So 0 is if you have at least 15 life more than your starting life total, exile Ajani and each artifact and creature your opponents control. Whoa, hold on a second.
Did you just read that? Yeah, this is nuts.
It's like, wait, did I just miss a word in there? No, it exiles each artifact and creature your opponents control, and you can do that if you gained enough life to start when this comes into play.
15 more life,
you do it
than
as soon as it comes
with.
in. That's freaking crazy.
Yeah, that's 0. You can just do it. And
Oloro decks are going to eat this up.
Yeah, it's so that's 4 mana, exile all of your opponent's creatures and artifacts,
and it doesn't die. It's a 0.
You have to exile.
Exile it. Yeah.
But still, exile. It's one-sided border wipe for 4 mana. In a life gain deck, this is nuts. That is so good.
That's your kill spell. You're holding it as a kill spell pretty much in a life gain deck. You're like Wrath of God or whatever. You're just waiting to exile everything.
That 0 is bonkers.
Yeah, because unless it gets countered, there's nothing that they can do once you play it. You get to use it, so you have priority at that point. If it comes into play, all right, now everything's gone.
Yeah. Yeah, and even creating Ajani's Pridemate is not bad in a life gain deck again. And it also just can ult itself pretty easy since you're going to be playing a bunch of tokens. I can easily see this I could tweak the Catcher deck that I have a little bit more life gain in there, and I'm going to be doing quite fine.
This is one of the better Ajanis that I think is out there.
Yeah.
It doesn't have, the ultimate doesn't seem like an ultimate that it's game winning, but it kind of is in a way, because you're exiling everything out of there. All right, well, you get the blue chick.
Mu Yanling, a Sky Dancer. It's a colorless blue for 2 loyalty. Legendary Planeswalker. You can +2 her until your next turn up to 1 target creature gets -2/-0 and loses flying. Meh.
Mm-hmm.
You can -3 her, create a 4/4 blue elemental bird creature token with flying. That's not bad.
Just sucks because you have to +2 to be able to get to that point.
Yeah, and the cool thing though is that it does take away flying, so it would from whatever creature you're targeting, and so that might make it tougher for them to like kill Mu Yanling. But the -8, which is the ultimate, which is nuts. You get an emblem with islands you control have tap, draw a card.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
That's crazy cool.
Going to be tough to get to that point, but
for sure,
because you're looking at 4 turns before you can actually do it.
3 turns.
Well, you got to wait that other turn.
Well, you go first turn goes
4,
to 4,
6, 8, and then your 4th turn you do it.
Sure. Okay.
And the hard part is doesn't have the doubling season effect where it comes in and you can ultimate right away. So it's gonna be a little more tricky, but it's a 3-drop planeswalker that.
Yeah, I feel like this one can be really cool because like even just +2ing to get to the next turn, -3, you have 1 left over, but you got a 4/4 blue bird, and then you +2 it again, and then you just kill it for another 4/4 blue bird. Like, I don't think that's awful.
No, that's pretty sweet.
That's 4 turns right there, and you got 2 4/4s. You stop somebody's creature twice, and it just killed by itself. Like, I don't think that's awful.
I like Ajani better.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think I like Soren a little bit better.
Which is yours?
Soren Imperiaz Bloodlord, 2 and 1 black. It comes in with 4 loyalty, +1. Target creature you control gains Death Touch and lifelink until end of turn. If it's a vampire, put a 1/1 counter on it. +1 again. You may sacrifice a vampire. When you do, Soren deals 3 damage to any target, and you gain 3 life. And then you can -3, it's ultimate. You may put a vampire creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. So you can do some, if you have some stuff, tricky things, or expensive vampires.
I think this clearly goes into vampire tribal decks.
For sure.
And it is mono black.
Eat this up.
Yeah, Edgar's gonna love it. And if you're running just like mono black has a bunch of like bigger vampires that you can just cheat into play with this early game, which could be really huge as well. I mean, the first +1 is probably better than the second +1, right? I don't want to sacrifice a vampire to deal 3 damage to any target.
But you are taking out a target. At least it's not saying 3 damage to a player and you gain 3 life. Yeah. You actually can direct that to a planeswalker, a creature, whatever, which is kind of nice.
With Edgar's tokens, this is
then you're just like, boom, 1 token, and you're plussing it. It's not a minus ability to do that. So I like its 2+ abilities. It's definitely going in the Edgar deck.
It feels weird on the first +1 where target creature you control gains Death Touch and lifelink. And if it's a vampire, like I feel like this is pretty vampire centric. Like, why not just force them to be target vampire gets Death Touch indestructible and a 1/1 counter on it?
Because they want to make it so it's more usable for other things.
But it's not usable anywhere. Like,
it's other +1. Well, that's why it has 2 +1. So it's like, well, if you don't have a vampire tribal, just stick with the first one.
Because
and
the
don't get the
-3
counter.
is really bad then too. You know what I mean?
Touche.
like you're literally just paying 3 to give a creature +1/+1, or not even just Death Touch and lifelink. That's all you're doing.
What you're saying is what we don't normally do. You're making the card worse.
Yeah, well, it's not very good outside of Vampire Tribal. So why wouldn't you just keep it all Vampire in Vampire Tribal?
Maybe give it one more benefit to make it stay with Vampire Tribal.
I mean, you could have easily said you may sacrifice any creature when you do. Soren deals 3 damage to any target and you gain 3 life. Why'd it have to be a vampire? This is just an odd card to me. I don't like the wording.
I don't like the art as much though in this too. But I like.
He looks like a statue. He's very porcelain.
It's not the Edgar that I.
He was not
or Edgar Soren that I like to see. I don't know why I said. Oh, because we're talking about Edgar.
Yeah.
I'm like, why did I say Edgar? He's
what's the thing that you do with the video and you white shade it or like
what?
Whenever you're doing like a camera, you're supposed to.
Fuck. It is.
You know what I mean? So he's very
silhouette.
bright. He's very bright.
Silhouette?
No.
Is that what you're talking about? White sheet.
White balance.
Oh, gotcha.
Somebody didn't white balance on this card because you can barely see his eyes. Yeah. Chandra, Awakened Inferno.
We mentioned her last week, but we didn't actually talk about it.
Yeah, so 4 colorless, red for 6 loyalty. It cannot be countered. It says this on the card. Then you can +2 it. Each opponent gets an emblem with, at the beginning of your upkeep, this emblem deals 1 damage to you. That's a +2.
Yeah.
Emblems don't go away.
That's
you
pretty
can just
sweet.
keep pinging people.
And you're not doing it. She's the one doing it.
Yeah,
so.
It's not you, clearly. Yeah. I mean, if you could choose, you'd choose somebody else. But because it's just everybody.
It's just giving them the emblem. Everybody loves emblems because they don't go away.
That's exactly right. You can -3 this. Chandra Awakened Inferno deals 3 damage to each non-elemental creature. So you could put this into elemental tribal decks if you wanted to. And then you can -X. Chandra Awakened Inferno deals X damage to target creature or planeswalker. If a permanent dealt damage this way would die this turn, exile it instead.
So right off the bat, you can kill something and exile it if you wanted.
But I just want to +2 it.
Yeah, I know. Give everybody
just continue to +2 it. Yeah, and then it just builds up and just doesn't go away. People just want to kill you.
Yeah, I like it. I like that. Probably one of my favorites so far.
Chandra?
Yeah,
I like that one.
All right, then we have Vivienne Ark Ranger, 1 and 3 green, comes in with 4 loyalty, +1 distribute 2 1/1 counters among up to 2 target creatures. They gain trample until end of turn. -3 target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature or planeswalker. Or -5. You may choose a creature card. This is not going to be good for us because we don't have outside the game. Creature card you own from outside the game, reveal it and put it into your hand. So unless you're purposely at the beginning of the game being like, hey,
I have this one creature outside the game. Or I have this wish board of like, I mean.
Do you remember when we used to play 60 card decks? And I had the Eldrazi, Spawnshire or whatever her name. Mm-hmm. And I was like, hey, just so you know, I don't have them sitting next to me. But if I
just
do
know
the
that
20,
I win the game.
Basically, I was like, I'm bringing out Emrakul, I'm bringing this and this and this and this and that. So, yeah, I don't know. This doesn't really affect us as much because we just, as Commander players, unless you do it
I don't know if that's good enough just to do with 2 abilities. I'd probably just trade it ASAP.
Yeah.
Depending on how expensive
I like the other Viviennes better. Agreed. All right, so then we get a new kind of set. Instead of, you get Titans and all that stuff, we got a new set of elemental thingies.
Knights.
Cavaliers.
Knights. Cavalier of Dawn is the first one we'll talk about at 2 colorless, white. That is 3 white people. 4/6.
3 white people.
3 white people. There's a comma in there.
I don't see any white people in this picture, Larry.
They're elemental knight people. It's a 4/6 vigilance. When Cavalier of Dawn enters the battlefield, destroy up to 1 target non-land permanent. Its controller creates a 3/3 colorless golem artifact creature token. And then if it dies, when Cavalier of Dawn dies, return target artifact or enchantment card from your graveyard to your hand.
That's interesting. I like that it's wiping something out, non-land permanent. I mean, you can see this in white decks.
Yeah, but like the cards that create 3/3 colorless, like whatever, like an elephant from the Generous Gift, you can hit lands with that.
Yeah.
And this being not land, like you can't target lands, doesn't make me super happy.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, because you're just always focused on Gaia's Cradle, so that's why you want hit lands.
You do want, if somebody's playing Gaia's Cradle, you need to be able to deal with it, or else it just goes nuts. And so this being a 4/6 vigilance, really heavy into the white mana, and you're returning the enchantment or artifact from your graveyard to your hand.
3 white people.
It feels like there's a lot of, just ignoring you, it feels like there's a lot going on, but I don't know if I like any of it on individually.
Well, we should rank them after we get done with these, because I don't know which one I like the best.
I know which one I like.
So Cavalier of Gales, this is 2 colors and 3 blue people. It is a 5/5 flying. When it enters the battlefield... Was that supposed to be your like...
No, I'm the Blue Man Group.
Nice.
Bop, bop, bop.
That was stupid. But funny. When it enters the battlefield...
You need to recognize the commas when we're talking. This will make it very difficult.
Draw 3 cards and put 2 cards from your hand on top of your library in any order. I like that. When it dies, shuffle it into the owner's library and then scry 2. I like this one better than the white one. You know why?
I disagree.
Because I will put this in my ninja deck. Set the top.
That makes sense. Okay. That makes a lot more sense than, because I was just like, the great thing about Brainstorm, which is the effect of draw 3 and then put 2 on top, is that it's instant speed, super cheap, and then you can fetch stuff away. That's like a really big power spot. But if you're setting the top, like you're saying, that is pretty nice. But
because that's, I think the one issue I have, it is not even that big of an issue with Yuriko, is there isn't enough once it gets into my hand of being able to get it back on top of my library. Sure. So this actually just gave me another tool that I'll most likely put in there. It's
because it has flying, so it has that evasion that you're looking for.
And it's not that crazy of a casting cost, 5.
But 5 would still deal enough
5 damage
to the rest
exactly
of the crew. Yeah, I can see that being really solid in Yuriko. Yeah. I can see that use.
So and not just saying, I mean, Yuriko is going to work well with. It's a decent card outside of that. I would say it's not amazeballs, but I like it for that aspect of it. Is what.
So
I was
like think about this: like you draw 3, put 2 from your hand on top, and then instantly sacrifice it so that you can scry those 2 to the bottom. That seems like a lot of work.
Yeah,
to not really do it. Like, that's not good. BT dubs.
Well, you don't scry it to the. If you sacrifice it, it shuffles it.
Oh, shuffle.
All right. Shuffle it into your owner's library, and then
that's a lot better.
Yeah,
that's a lot better.
So,
I didn't read that card, so it was.
You gonna take back your words you said before?
No, I still don't.
3
really
blue people are hurt feelings.
Cavalier of Night, 2 colorless with a skull, and a skull. When Cavalier of Night enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice another creature. When you do, destroy target creature an opponent controls. And then when Cavalier of Night dies, return target creature card with converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. I dislike this one as well.
I'm not
as a mythic, like as a rare, I wouldn't mind, but like I don't like the first 3 taking up mythic slots, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Again, they do a lot, but like having a 4/5 die and compensation, bringing back something of converted mana cost 3 or less into play doesn't excite me. There might be combo potential, and then there are plenty of cards at like 3 and 4 mana when they come into play. They just destroy a creature. Here, you got to sacrifice your own creature to destroy another creature. Like,
and it's in the mythic spot, like you're saying. Like,
again,
it should be.
It's an unnecessary drawback. Maybe it was just too powerful, though. But again, at Mythic, I can see this being a very good rare. At Mythic, I'm not super happy about it.
Cavalier of Flame, 2.
I like this one.
3 red people, and it is a 6/5. Tap 1 colorless and 1 red creatures you control. Get 1/0 and gain haste until end of turn. So you can give it haste when it comes into play if you want. When it enters the battlefield, discard any number of cards, then draw that many cards. When it dies, it deals X damage to each opponent and each planeswalker they control, where X is the number of land cards in your graveyard. So they really are printing a lot of stuff that works great with Lord Windgrace, you know?
Yeah, totally. And they're printing a lot of stuff that deals with planeswalkers.
Yeah. Doesn't it feel like this should have been just like in the Lord Windgrace deck?
They didn't put anything good in the Lord Windgrace
but
deck.
This is weird. It's like you just said, it's specifically dealing with planeswalkers. What was that set based off of? Planeswalkers.
Maybe this was too strong. I don't know.
It's kind of freaking crazy that it wasn't in there.
Here, look, there is no drawback on this card. This is 5 mana.
It's 3
I think
red.
This is what I would want.
But that's all their problems.
Being red makes it a drawback. But otherwise,
I meant 3 red.
But like you're giving all of your creatures +1/+0, not just one, all of them +1/+0, and you're giving them all haste. So you can consistently give creatures haste. And then,
so it works with your token decks as well.
Then being able, like, discarding cards to draw cards is a thing red does. That's not really a drawback. It's just something that it does.
And it's nice that it's you may ability, because you don't have to discard anything if you don't want to.
Yeah.
But if you have a crap ton of land and this is late game, you're like, fuck it, I need something else.
Even if this was like a windfall, no, not windfall. shit.
But what I just said there, you discard those lands, that's actually helping you for when he dies, because then it deals X damage to each player and each planeswalker for how many lands are in your graveyard.
I don't see anything bad about this card. Like, the first 3 we talked about felt like old school Magic, where all the good creatures had a drawback, so you're like, not that good. Mm-hmm. This is a legitimately good card.
Yeah. I think green might be my favorite, but you get to read it.
Cavalier of Thorns, 2 colorless, green, 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 5/6 reach. When Cavalier of Thorns enters the battlefield, reveal the top 5 cards of your library, put a land card from among them into the battlefield, and the rest into your graveyard. When Cavalier of Thorns dies, you may exile it. If you do, put another target card from your graveyard on top of your library.
I wish it went into your hand. There's its little drawback, but the nice thing is you're getting a land when it comes into play.
It doesn't come into tap.
Yeah. And it doesn't. It's pretty.
This fills up your graveyard, which is, that's a
green thing.
Yeah, it's a green thing. That's what Reanimation wants to do. When this dies, putting on top of your library is not bad for Vivictus Asmati, because you can just attack with Vivictus and then put whatever into the battlefield. That seems kind of cool. I like this card too. It's probably number 2 for me.
Hey, number 2.
Remember that text where he's like, when he's like walking around listening to the podcast, and he's like, "Hey, hey guys."
This is like, because so if you get the reference there, because then I would say that, and then he says it right back. It's pretty,
but it's on the podcast.
On the podcast, so. And he's like, "Oh, never mind."
Probably shouldn't have said that.
No, that's pretty funny, because I forgot about that. That he said that. It was pretty awesome. All right, okay, so we got a couple other mythics. Are you able to read these? You want me to read this one and you go to that?
It's not, Planeswalkers have so many words on it, it's really hard.
Okay, so one of our Kalia fans have another Kalia back in the mix here.
Boring.
So we have Kalia Zenith Seeker. It is red, white, and black, 3/3 flying vigilance. It's kind of a dumbed down version of her, but when she enters the battlefield, look at the top 6 cards of your library, may reveal an angel card, a demon card, and or a dragon card from among them, put them in your hand, put the rest in the bottom of your library in a random order. As your commander, I guess it would be good because you can get all 3 of them technically in your hand, but why wouldn't you play Kalia?
Yeah. No, this feels like gas for Kalia, the first one of the Vast. Just so you play this, because it's very playable at that, and then you can attack with the first Kalia with whatever you just basically drew with Zenith Seeker.
Yeah.
Like, that's what that feels like, and I don't know if I'm interested in having that as my commander.
Yeah. No, it would be in the deck, but the other part that kind of sucks is, would it be in the deck? Because it doesn't fit any of the angel, demon, or dragon types.
It's really not on theme, but it is a nice draw card, potentially getting you 3 cards in hand. That's not bad in the deck. I don't think it's bad.
No.
So, next one is going to be Kethis, the Hidden Hand. This is white, black, and green. It's a 3/4 legendary elf advisor. Legendary spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Exile 2 legendary cards from your graveyard. Until end of turn, each legendary card in your graveyard gains. You may play this card from your graveyard. What?
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
Okay, so you're easily, like, this is just all legend deck, right?
Yeah.
Because this is, you may play this card from your graveyard.
So lands.
Legendary lands can come back. So you can get your Gaia's Cradle back when I kill
it.
Yeah.
Kill it. I'll bring it back, bitch. It's green too. So your green will have it in there.
And so this card seems quite powerful. It has, because you can continue to play as many legends as you're able to as well. This seems really cool.
Yeah. I like it. We already talked about that one last week.
Yeah,
so
Kikar.
We talked about
It made Mana Echoes go nuts.
Yeah, that's a pretty sweet card. But then we got Ohm Nath, Locus of the Royal, which Ohm Nath keeps gaining colors each time he's printed, because we first start with green and then he adds red, and now let's add blue. So he's 1 green, blue, and red. It's 1 first colorless and then green, blue, red. It sounded like I was saying I'm missing my
green,
commas.
Blue, red. Yeah.
The missing comma. That's the name of this episode.
Clearly.
3 white people. 3/3. When Ohm Nath enters the battlefield, it deals damage to any target equal to the number of elementals you control. And then it also says whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, put a 1/1 counter on target elemental you control. If you control 8 or more lands, draw a card. So
sweetness. I love it.
Fits on with the land theme of Ohm Nath of what he likes to do, and then it adds in elementals. Well, actually, he had elementals that he would make before.
Yeah, the last one he made 5/5 elementals,
right.
And whenever an elemental died, he was able to deal 3 damage to any target.
So what's the blue add to him? What
drawing a card? If
there we go. I was trying to find it. I'm like, there's something that's got.
Well, like if you look at the actual picture, though, he's like still green and red,
but he's
standing in water, so that makes him blue. He's like.
Do you think eventually his evolution is going to be all 5 colors?
I hope it's Ohm Nath Captain Planet, and that's the end.
When our powers combine,
that's my hope.
Destroy the world. Ohm Nath, he's your hero. Gonna bring lands down to 0. No.
I already did this song, but I'm not going to redo it because I forgot it. Okay, next one. Yurok, the Desecrated, is going to be 2 colorless.
Oh, because we did the angel already.
Yeah. Gotcha. Yurok, the Desecrated, as Adam just so rudely interrupted me.
What? I was going to cut all that out, so it didn't sound like I interrupted you.
Black, green, blue. It's a 3/5 Death Touch Lifelink Elemental Horror.
Panharmonicon.
If a permanent entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. Not quite. This is better than Panharmonicon, because Panharmonicon just deals with like creatures and artifacts. This is any permanent entering, triggering any other permanent.
And he's a 3/5 Death Touch Lifelink.
Yeah.
And he can be your commanders for double triggers instead of Panharmonicon's artifact that's in your deck that you got to go find to get the double triggers.
This seems crazy.
Your commander.
This seems so awesome.
Yeah, that's a card. That's a must-have.
This is easily like something I want to build with. Like, and all of these legends, I hate it that they're all mythic.
Yeah,
like they're all mythic.
Well, but look at this. It's sitting at $8 right now. That's almost like a pre-order get that card.
Sure.
But it is a 3-color, so you got to deal with that. I bet you it's going to be one of the top commanders out of this set, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of the Kethis, the guy that plays Legends,
but
is
he's
going to be
$20.
Yeah. Kikar, the Spirit guy, he's going to be awesome. Ohm Nath, Rian.
Yeah.
This guy, like, they're going to have a lot of good Legends coming out of this. But they're all mythic that we just talked about, so awesome.
All right, let's move on to rare then, since we talked about those. Thunderkin Awakener, 1 red, 1 colorless. It's a 1/2 elemental shaman. It has haste. When it attacks, choose target elemental creature card in your graveyard with toughness less than the Awakener's toughness. Return that to the battlefield tapped and attacking. Sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. So one thing that was brought up was Lightning Skelemental that just came out. You can also have Ball of Lightning that can come back out into play because it has less toughness than this. So there's some interesting, tricky things you can do with it. Nothing that like...
Yeah, it's nothing I want to do.
Right. It's going to be more of like a... constructed deck, kind of 60 card something.
Yeah,
not a commander thing, but interesting nonetheless.
It's kind of cool that it has haste. I think I missed that part. So you can play it and then after, so like turn 5.
What's the green Ball Lightning, the Thunder, what is that one called?
Thunder.
You know what I'm talking about?
No, I
think it's from Planar Chaos.
Correct. 6/1
does the same thing.
Second end of turn.
Whatever. It's the green version of Ball Lightning, and it's from Planar Chaos. I could look it up right now, but I don't want to.
It's not that important.
No, but you could get a bunch of those 6/1 dudes that kill themselves and stuff and be awesome. No, let's move on.
Tail's End, colorless and a blue for an instant, counter target, activated ability, triggered ability, or legendary spell.
That part's interesting.
Yeah, like the countering the activated or triggered ability, it's not bad, but it's not interesting. But countering the legendary spell for us,
that's like fits in Commander pretty damn well.
They have a lot of legends that are, because that's also Planeswalkers and stuff like that. But being able to hit somebody's commander for 2,
right,
like a blue and a colorless, that's pretty big.
And see, I would find this a little more fair than a straight up counter spell because you
got to hold up for that player to use their.
And this is just you're targeting a legendary creature or legendary spell, so you're hitting a specific thing. You know me, I don't like counter spells.
So if I held this up for Ilharg, would you stop bitching about killing it?
You're a f***er.
Clearly.
You're still a f***er. I might bleep those out because that was really harsh F's on those. All right. Brought back 2 white instant. Choose up to 2 target permanent cards in your graveyard that were put there from the battlefield this turn. Return those to the battlefield tapped.
I love this card. That's great.
Because it's permanence, which is sweet because it can be anything.
Yeah, you have 2 other cards that are like 4 mana at instant speed that would bring back cards and put them into play. But this being like 2 white, a little bit cheaper. I was seeing people 2 fetch lands or a wasteland and a fetch or, just a creature dying. It seems really versatile if you're sacking your own stuff, especially.
Or even just late game if somebody kills your shit, then you.
Yeah, somebody wraths, you get your 2 best things back.
All right, next one.
Mystic Forge is going to be 4 colorless artifacts. You may look at the top card of your library anytime. You may cast the top card of your library if it's an artifact card or a colorless non-land card. And you can tap it, pay 1 life, exile the top card of your library. This is really, really good in heavy artifact decks, right? And again, this reinforces me thinking that the next year is going to be artifact heavy.
Yeah, and there's a couple things in here as well that you had pointed out before.
And the colorless part is like it allows it to be Eldrazi help as well.
Ooh, so Eldrazi.
You don't want to do those?
Yeah, no. Well, they made
the
tutors, but those are for the Planeswalker decks, aren't they?
Yeah. Same. That one.
Okay. Then our next one is Embodied of Agonies. It is 1 and 2 black. It's a 0/0 demon. What a weak bitch. Flying Death Touch. What's 0/0 going to do? But when it enters the battlefield, put a 1/1 counter on it for each different mana cost among non-land cards in your graveyard. And it says, for example, you have 2 and 1 black and 1 colorless and 2 black are different mana costs. So it would be a 2/2 at that point.
Yeah. Like the first couple times I read it as like creatures. But this is non-land permanence. So
it could be kind of big for
3 mana.
This could be find a home somewhere. I like the flying death. I guess the death touch I'd like to add.
And you put this in Yurok, that would double up because it's an ETB effect. Whew. This seems cool. I like it.
All right, then you have this guy.
Hanged Executioner. 2 colorless and a white for a 1/1 flyer. Whenever Hanged Executioner enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 white spirit creature token when flying. Then you can pay 3 colors and a white. Exile Hanged Executioner. Exile target creature. Too expensive? Too slow?
Yeah.
Leyline of Sanctity, which is a reprint.
We got the blue,
really
the
good card.
White and black as reprints.
Leyline of Anticipation from blue and Leyline of the Void for black.
And we'll talk about the
Those
2
are
new ones
really
in a little
good
bit.
Reprints.
Yeah, it brought the price down, which is good to more reasonable prices right now. So pick those up if you don't have them.
For sure.
The next one is Loxodon Life Enchanter, or is it Life Chanter? Okay, Chanter. 5 and 1 white for 6. It's an Elephant Cleric. When it enters the battlefield, you may have your life total become the total toughness of creatures you control. You can tap 5 and 1. It gets X plus X until end of turn, where X is your life total.
This card seems really
That's
good.
Pretty crazy.
Like, I'm sure would you put this in your Arcades deck, even though it's not a wall? You could gain a shit ton of life.
That's a good point.
And then it just is a beater on its own.
That's a good point. 6 mana coming in.
You're gaining 6 life off of it no matter what on an empty board. And then you can pay 6.
No. You don't gain that. It says your life total becomes the total toughness.
Oh.
You may have your life total become the total toughness.
Okay. Not as good.
Yeah, so you don't want to be 6.
No. That'd be real bad.
But still, even what you're saying...
It's a May.
Yeah, it says you may do that. But even still, that's still a good point with all the walls and all their butts being big. Dropping this, and if you're taking a lot of damage, that deck doesn't have a lot of life gain, so this could be
something that allows you to come back a little bit.
The hard part is I have a lot in there of dealing with the power and destroying all creatures.
Probably not good enough.
Yeah.
It might be okay in Doran, though.
Yeah.
Which is similar, but like you use different cards for it.
Problem is it doesn't have evasiveness, so it's chump blocked very easily.
Agreed.
So you make it huge, but then it just gets blocked.
Sephara, Sky's Blade. That's a reprint. Planar Cleansing is being reprinted. Sephara, Sky's Blade, which is 4 colorless, white for a 7/7 legendary angel. You may pay 1 white and tap 4 untapped creatures you control with flying rather than pay this spell's mana cost. Has flying and lifelink, and other creatures you control with flying have indestructible.
That's pretty sweet.
That's a really awesome alternative cost.
Yeah. Put it in your with spirits or whatever, just a couple spirits you need out, tap 4 of those and 1 white, and boom, she's out, and they all are indestructible.
Flying
except for
lifelink 7/7. Yeah, and then if you can easily have some sort of protection for her up and ready to go anyway. So this is pretty powerful, I think.
It could be a commander.
Oh, for sure.
You know? You're just playing a bunch of little 1/1 tokens, and it's always going to be its alternate cost. You won't have you have the 2 extra?
Yeah. The commander tax will
so it'll still be on there,
this,
so you'd have the 1, tap 4, and then 2. So it'd be 3, For
a 7/7 flying lifelink and giving
your stuff indestructible. This could be a very powerful commander.
Yeah. That's again, you need them to stay out, you're building up an army.
But you're making a bunch of little 1/1s out, spirits, people aren't really that afraid of them.
It seems really good.
So we got Starfield Mystic, 1 and 1 white, human cleric, 2/2. Enchantment spells you cast cost 1 less. Whenever an enchantment you control is put in the graveyard from the battlefield, put a 1/1 counter on this.
Meh.
Yeah.
I'm glad that it's in white. There was a cost reduction for enchantment in green, but this should just be in white. Drawn from Dreams, 2 colorless, 2 blue. It's a sorcery. Look at the top 7 cards of your library. Put 2 of them into your hand and the rest at the bottom of your library in a random order. This is pretty solid. This is going to be Dig Through Time at 4 mana instead of 2 blue plus delving a bunch, but this feels like a fixed version of it. I probably won't play it because I haven't played Dig Through Time really, but
top 7 cards is a lot.
Yeah, you're getting a lot of choice there.
And we have Flood of Tears, 4 and 2 blue. Return all non-land permanents to their owner's hand. If you return 4 or more non-token permanents you control this way, you may put a permanent card from your hand onto the battlefield. So it's bouncing everything. If you do 4 of your own, then you get to put 1 thing back.
I saw somebody comment on the Monticello area MTG. They were like, I'm going to put Omniscience into play and then put everything back into play for free that I just returned. It's that's a really good idea. Yeah. So that seems, I think this seems like a pretty cool idea. I like it. Dread Presence, which is 3 colorless and a black for a 3/3. It's a nightmare. Whenever Day Terrors.
It's almost like you screaming when I spilled the beer on the
computer. Whenever a swamp enters the battlefield under your control, choose 1. You draw a card and you lose a life, or Dread Presence deals 2 damage to any target and you gain 2 life. I think this is really great flexibility, and whenever a swamp enters the battlefield, just being able to draw a card and lose a life is
so you have whatchamacallit land that makes all your...
It's fucking landfall.
But you make it all your lands in play, out play, or swamps. What's it called?
It doesn't work like that anymore.
But you know what I'm saying. When it
Tomb
comes
of
in,
Yogmouth.
Yeah, when it comes into play, it'd be a swamp, though.
I'm not sure if that's how that would work.
What?
It might.
Whenever a swamp enters the battlefield. So enter the battlefield as a swamp.
Maybe.
I gotta pull it up right now, you son of a bitch. All right, so yeah, Urborg, Tomb of Yogmouth will work with this. You can play it in not just your black decks.
Nice.
Do we want to talk about that one?
Meh.
Okay. All right. So, no, we already got Leyline. So we have a new dinosaur. Is it me? It is me.
Yeah, it's you.
Rotting Regisar?
Sure.
2 and 1 black for a 7/6 zombie dinosaur. Its downfall is at the beginning of your upkeep, discard a card.
Which there's enough reasons to make it an upside, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So I like it. Scheming Symmetry. 1 black for sorcery. Choose 2 target players. Each of them searches their library for a card, then shuffles their library and puts that card on top of it. What?
Yeah. Didn't we talk about that one?
I don't think we did. We only did Legends.
So we just talked about it amongst ourselves? Yeah. So you can kind of set it up where they're drawing something, you're drawing something, and then making them shuffle whatever they go and get.
Yeah. Or you can make it difficult for them to go and search on their own, or do like Obnixilis.
I thought we did talk about that, because we did talk about the searching on their own, and we started talking about all the other different cards that make it so you can't search on the top, remember? Because then you're like, oh, you're thinking of blah, blah, blah.
Moving on.
All right. Villus, Broker of Blood. It is kind of our new Gristlebrand. You know, it's the same casting cost kind of thing where they're doing the demon.
Yeah.
It's 5, 3 black. It's an 8/8 flying. You may pay 1 black, pay 2 life. Target creature gets -1 and -1 until end of turn. But whenever you lose life, draw that many cards. That's pretty crazy.
You're paying a black, or
paying
tapping
2
black,
life,
paying 2 life,
drawing 2 cards,
drawing 2 cards, and
putting
giving
-1/-1.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So, like, that's getting away any chump blockers, like little 1/1 flying spirit dudes that you were talking about. Gets through that indestructible from the angel we just talked about.
Playing your fetch lands, your shock lands, you're drawing cards on top of playing those.
Yeah.
It's people doing damage to you, like drawing
whenever
cards.
Somebody, wow.
It's like, all right.
Wow.
And it's loss of life, which is interesting because then it's not just damage. So
yeah,
that's
because it does say damage causes loss of life,
so,
but also like paying life or losing life. That's all. Yeah.
This is a pretty cool
card. That
card.
seems really good.
Yeah, I like the card a lot.
Is that almost too much draw? Are you drawing too much there?
Whoa, Lowry. You feeling all right? Drawing too much? That's not you.
Chandras Regulator.
You normally have like half your deck in your hand, and you're like, well, let's see what I want to do.
This might just help me because everybody targets me anyway. So just draw more cards. Chandras Regulator. Colorless and a red for a legendary artifact. Whenever you activate a loyalty ability of a Chandra Planeswalker, you may pay 1. If you do, copy that ability. You may choose new targets for the copy. Then you can tap 1, tap it, discard a mountain or a red card to draw a card. Just to pay 1 to double an effect on a Chandra Planeswalker.
That's pretty cool. You gotta be doing a Chandra thingy.
A Chandra thingy?
Chandra.
Okay,
Chandra shit.
Here's one thing that I'm wondering, like, are they starting to actually make cards for Oathbreaker?
But you can't use this one in that.
You can use this in an Oathbreaker deck of Chandra.
But doesn't your card have to be a sorcery or an instant?
Sure, but you can still put this in the other part of the deck.
No, I think they're just it's what we kind of talked about last week a little bit. I feel like the show might have a little influence on this because Chandra is the one that they're showing in the show as the title.
That's a good point.
And so they're just kind of...
Well, okay, so I've been doing a little bit of like digging on Oathbreaker, just trying to figure out what would be some good combinations. And do you remember the Triumphs from War of the Spark, like Nissa's Triumph?
Mm-hmm.
Those are all like... better if you have a Nissa Planeswalker.
Sure. Yeah, no, that's what a lot of people are.
I don't think I didn't know really about Oathbreaker at that point, and so now I'm like, oh, those are really good for Oathbreaker with the Nissa or the.
And that's why when we were talking about Oathbreaker, I was like, I think the ramp and drawing as your spells are pretty good, and so that was the one that I had seen somebody talk about.
Gotcha.
But I don't know. I think it'll be interesting. It'd be cool if they keep doing like building these characters. So now they have Chandra, and this set isn't just Chandra, but it's a lot of Chandra. So maybe next set is going to be the next one. They're going to try to build
Jace. There isn't enough of Jace.
Yeah, they're going to try to build all these Planeswalkers up to be characters in the show, and so more like superheroes. So we have the Avengers in a way, but they're trying to do it with Planeswalkers. I don't know.
Avengers. It's Super Friends.
That's how the show's going.
But that's
Super Friends.
But Super Friends is like always.
That should be the name of the show.
DC. That's DC. Avengers is taking it over because they're so popular right now. But
yeah,
Super Friends is the best cartoon ever made.
X-Men. It's my
probably
favorite.
Better. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot better cartoons out there.
Family Guy. One. All right, Chandra. Oh, what is it?
Acolyte.
Acolyte of Flame. I would have called it Ocodle. I want to Ocodle you, like cuddling.
No, yeah, you can't. You can't. Just keep on that cum bubble.
1 and 2 red. 1 and 2 red. Here's our rare Planeswalker that we were talking about last week. It comes with 4 loyalty. 0, put a loyalty counter on each Planeswalker you control, including herself.
Each red Planeswalker.
Oh, yeah, I can't. Loyalty. Okay, yeah. It's a little further away from me.
It's hard,
other 0 is create a 2/1/1 red elemental creature tokens. They gain haste. Sacrifice them at the beginning of the end step. -2, you may cast target instant or sorcery card with converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard. If it would be put in your graveyard, exile it instead. It's a rare one. It doesn't. It kind of has a plus ability with its 0 ability.
Yeah, the 0 ability puts 1 on Chandra here.
Yeah, I think they just made it easier.
-2. That's for 3 mana. That seems pretty solid.
What are you gonna cast with it?
Lightning bolt. For us? I don't fucking know.
Yeah, that's what it's.
Why?
Lightning bolt. Fuck, I don't know what we're gonna cast.
Just because we're a Commander podcast doesn't mean I gotta know what we're talking about.
All right, our red one, red Leyline.
Leyline of Combustion, which is 2 colorless and 2 red for an enchantment. If you have it in your hand at the beginning of the game, you can put it into play for free. Whenever you and or at least one permanent you control become the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, Leyline of Combustion deals 2 damage to that player. Is this good? No.
Modern Raptor. 1 and 1 red. It is a 2/3. It's a dinosaur. Creature spells you or cast cost 1 less to cast. Here's the cool part. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, this deals 2 damage to it. If a dinosaur is dealt damage this way, this card gets 2+0 until end of turn. So, yeah, it sounds kind of bad if you're like playing tokens and you're like, oh, I'm playing my goblins. Oh, damn it, they're dead. Well, you're playing a lot of the Ixalan stuff has Enrage. So you do the Raptors, Raging Raptors? Is that what it is?
Raging Ferocidons?
No, the 4/5s that you draw a card when it comes in or when it deals damage and rages it.
Yeah.
Yeah, those guys. Or the land, the dudes that come or that are 2/3s that when they get dealt damage, go get a land.
Basically, other dinosaurs that are decent with Enrage. This kind of sets a Polyraptor kind of goes infinite.
Yeah, you have to have a way to stop that because they'll just go and there is no end because there's not a you may like it does damage to it. And that thing will just keep creating tokens. So
keep going. Well, because like if you have the Wanderer or your damage prevention cards, that would just give you creatures for cheaper.
Because you're saying the minus or the
2 damage would be prevented.
Yeah.
Or if you have Vigor in play, that would be prevented and 2 more counters on it.
I like
this,
that.
This card seems really powerful for 2 mana.
For a 2/3. Yeah. Like that's pretty sweet.
You're like, oh, you're gonna kill some of your smaller creatures. No, I'm gonna make my creatures bigger.
Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna do.
Play the Enrage bitches and they'll do some cool stuff.
Yeah. This seems like a really, really cool card. So,
all right.
Do I gotta say this one?
Yep.
Shit. It's confusing. Repeated Reverberation.
Repeated Reverberation.
Repeated Reverberation.
Repeated.
2 colorless, red, instant. When you next cast an instant spell, cast a sorcery spell, or activate a loyalty ability this turn, copy that spell or ability twice. You may choose new targets for the copy. So that's creating 3 copies on the stack.
Yeah.
So the original, and this is creating 2 more. So it's like Reverberation is like Fork, which makes another copy, but this repeated reverberation creates 2 copies on the stack. Has to be you can do an
activated or loyalty ability, which is kind of interesting too.
But the problem with when it's this kind of card and it has to be you doing it, you have to have enough mana.
Yeah.
And so it's like you got to have 4 plus whatever awesome thing you want to do, or you're doing something middling 3 times. So
you're doing a Planeswalker ability 3 times.
The Planeswalker ability might help out, but again, you're in red, so how is that? How good is that really going to be?
It's not an Atraxa, so
no.
What are you really going to do? All right, Elvish Reclaimer, 1 for a 1/2. It enters, it gets 2/2 as long as there are 3 or more land cards in your graveyard. Again, this is working with our Lord Windgrace. Yeah. Tap 2, tap it, sacrifice a land, search a library for a land card, put it on the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle your library.
So it's a crop rotation effect, which is always awesome.
Yeah, a continuous one. You don't have to sacrifice it or anything. You can do it each turn.
And it's any land, like Adam was saying. It's not a basic land.
And the nice thing is you don't have to do it at like sorcery speed. It can be at the end, like before your turn.
Yeah, a 1 mana 1/2 that can turn into a 3/4 for 1 mana. Man, this is a powerful card.
Yeah, it's only at $3 right now.
Yeah. Leyline of Abundance, 2 colorless and a green enchantment. If it's in your hand starting of the game, you get to put it in play for free. Whenever you tap a creature for mana, add an additional green. You can pay 6 colorless and 2 green to put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control.
That's so much to put
quite a bit.
But what it's also doing is you're getting more mana by, let's say you're using Cryptolith Right.
True. You're tapping 4 creatures to put a 1/1 on each creature.
Yeah.
That's not awful. Or you have like a druid deck with Seaton where you're just tapping all your druids for 2 mana instead of 1. Or
it's
the 8's a lot.
Yeah. You would think they would gain something else like trample or.
Well, I mean, okay, so that's actually, think about that though. If you have any creature that taps for mana, basically it just doubled. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like a 4 mana Mirror's Wake for creatures only instead of lands only. And then like Mirror's Wake gets the +1/+1, just the always effect. This is doing 1/1 counters, but you definitely gotta
tap
pay
some
more.
Mana down.
But you can do it more than once. I still don't think that's as good as Mirror's Wake.
Yeah.
Or Ari's Wake. It could be really powerful. Moving on.
Night Pack Ambusher, 2 and 2 green, 4/4 flash. When other werewolves and wolves you control get 1/1. At the beginning of your end step, if you didn't cast a spell this turn, create a 2/2 green wolf creature token. This is going in Tolsimir.
So an interesting thing too is like they kind of played off of like if you didn't play a spell that turn, it flips. But this one doesn't flip. It just gives you a 2/2.
Yeah,
it's kind of interesting that way. And then it also is like when we were talking about Tolsimir, it's like, man, I wish you could use werewolves the same as wolves.
And it added the werewolves. Yeah.
And actually, that's my suggestion for Jank Tribal and wolves. But Shared Summons, which is 3 colorless, green and green, instant. Search your library for up to 2 creature cards with different names, reveal them, put them into your hand, and shuffle your library.
Perfect for Commander.
Yeah, right into your hand. Seems solid. Instant speed, again, seems solid. I think it's going to be a good, easy tutor for your creatures.
Then we have Shifting Ceratops. It's not a Triceratops, it's a Ceratops. 2 and 2 green. It is a dinosaur, 5/4. This spell can't be countered, fuck you, blue. And protection from blue, fuck you, blue. And then you can tap 1 green. It gains your choice, reach, trample, or haste until end of turn. That's pretty sweet. 4/4, 5/4, hasty.
Solid utility. It's a dinosaur.
It's kind of cool they keep going with the dinosaurs.
Yeah.
They're giving more to dinosaurs. This is one of 2. Don't we have 2 Hydras in this? No, just 1 Hydra.
No, there is another one.
Okay, I thought I saw one.
Voracious Hydra, which is X green for an 0/1 trample. When it enters the battlefield with X 1/1 counters on it, when Voracious Hydra enters the battlefield, choose one. Double the amount of 1/1 counters on it, or Voracious Hydra fights target creature you don't control. That seems cool.
See, and I would have read it as ferocious, but it's totally not.
Totally
it's a
not.
ferocious Hydra.
But like being able to just remove or make it a really big guy has trample. Solid.
Wake Root Elemental, 4 and 2 green, 5/5, tap 5 on tap target land you control. It becomes a 5/5 elemental creature with haste. It's still land. It doesn't tell end of turn. It stays a 5/5 elemental creature.
But
you got to tap 5.
Did you see what this does?
What?
Essentially infinite mana with Gaia's Cradle.
Why is that?
Well, if you have more than 5 creatures, you can tap it for 6 mana.
Yeah.
And then you untap that land, Gaia's Cradle, and then you have 1 left over. Rinse and repeat, and then you continually get more.
But you have to turn that land into a 5/5.
It's still a land.
Yeah, but you can't make infinite 5/5s.
No, but you can get infinite mana.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, infinite mana.
I gotcha. Okay. No, I was like, you have a limited amount of lands that you can turn into 5/5s.
You could also just turn them into a bunch of 5/5s. This is also true. But turning your lands into creatures is generally a bad idea.
Yeah, they get killed.
Pretty bad.
We have another 5-color commander.
I do like this one too. Golos, Tireless Pilgrim, 5 colorless mana for a legendary scout artifact creature. It's a 3/5. When Golos, Tireless Pilgrim enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a land card. Put that card in the battlefield tap, then shuffle your library.
They're getting away from all the basic
Yeah,
stuff.
any land card. And then you can pay 2 colorless, a white, blue, black, red, green. Exile the top 3 cards of your library. You may play them this turn without paying their mana cost. Again, this is play, not cast. So you can do a land if you got one in there. This card seems really cool. Very
For
versatile.
5, it's pretty...
Yeah, it's
doable.
I like it. I was thinking almost like, I think this could probably fit in Ramos because you just like, pay the 10, you got 7 here, but you're going to easily have that mana and then just play things for free to re-up. You can do that kind of at any time.
And this doesn't take the place of Ramos, though.
No. But I think you could also, like, I was thinking maybe making Golos with, like, blink effects all over the place, so you just continually get more lands. Put, like, Brago in there and Rune and all the other effects. And then just have other end of the battlefield value creatures in there to just help out. It seems like it might be a hot mess, but I think it'd be cool.
At least it's 5 to come out and you get that benefit. Like, this seems like a card that would be like a 7 drop, like Ramos. Ramos is 7, right? You
6.
said 6? Yeah, this seems pretty interesting. Problem is, it isn't going to go in every deck like Solemn Simulacrum.
Because it's 5.
And you have all 5 colors.
Color, yeah.
So, Icon of Ancestry, 3 for an artifact. As long as it enters the battlefield, or as it enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Creatures of the chosen type get 1/1. You can tap 3, look at the top 3 cards of your library, may reveal a creature card of the chosen type from among them and put the rest, or put it into your hand, put the rest at the bottom of your library in a random order.
How much
Tribal.
is this? $3? This is going to be really good.
Tribal. Then we have 2 fucking
Steel Overseer is seeing a reprint, which again
lands.
puts a 1/1 counter on each artifact you control. I'm really pushing this. Pretty sure we're getting artifact heavy thing.
Yeah. But then we have 2 awesome freaking lands that are in this. You get the first one.
Field of the Dead, which is a land. It enters the battlefield tapped. You can tap it for a colorless. And then whenever Field of the Dead or another land enters the battlefield under your control, if you control 7 or more lands with different names, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. This seems like it could be really cool.
You mentioned one thing before the cast.
You can go. I think I forgot about the 7 different
names is a little more difficult.
Yeah, but if you like scape shift for this,
yeah, then you're like,
and then you have enough lands to be able to get 7 different ones, then you can get a ton of black zombie token creatures.
Yeah,
at least like 8.
A ton. 8.
That's 16 power.
Yeah.
So
the one that I'm most excited about, I think for this whole set almost, is Lotus Field. This is just a regular land. It's not legendary. Has hexproof. When it enters the battlefield tapped. When it enters the battlefield, sacrifice 2 lands. They do not have to be tapped. And then you can also tap this for 3 mana of any one color. So the biggest problem is Lotus Veil has the issue of you sacrifice 2 of your land, untapped land to be able to do that as well. Somebody can just blow that up and then you're fucked.
Yeah.
This has hexproof, which is awesome.
Makes it a lot tougher to just get rid of. Yeah, this card seems pretty incredible for Modern, especially. Because, I mean, I think everybody saw this and went Amulet of Vigor and Primeval Titan and just win the game.
Yeah. No, this is... Do you see you playing this in Commander, though? With the hexproof? Sure, does that feel a lot better?
I don't have any problem with that. As long as it's not against Trombley's Kalia deck. That Armageddon's all the time.
Yeah, it kills all then we got the Scrylands, the enemy Scrylands, and then we should probably just hit up a couple of the uncommons quick.
So Colossus Hammer, which is an equipment for 1 mana. Equipped creature gets +10/+10 and loses flying. It equips for 8.
There's so many cards that you can cheat this out or cheat it onto stuff. You have Aura, the 1 white.
Sigarda's Aid.
Yeah. Then you have the Hammer of Nihilin, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes into play, you can attach it to a creature, and then all your equipment that comes into play can attach to their creatures. So
yeah, there's like 3 or 4 creatures that just like tap, attach an equipment to. This is the right way to do it.
Yeah.
Instead of like if it was like 7 to come out, 1 to equip.
Yeah.
Like, that kind of sucks.
But they do make it so it loses evasiveness, so it's not flying, and it doesn't have trample, so it can be chump blocked pretty easily.
Why can't it have trample?
Well, I'm just saying it doesn't have trample. A lot of times when you see a 10/10, it'll have trample or something.
I'm gonna
give
it trample. I'm gonna put it on a trample card.
No, it's not allowed to have trample, Lowry. Angel of Vitality, 2 and a white, 2/2 flying angel. If you gain life, you gain that much +1 instead. It gains 2/2 as long as you have 25 life or more. So Commander players, you'll have a 4/4 flying.
This seems really good with Soul Sisters. Like whenever a creature enters the battlefield, you gain 1 life. And so you play this, gain 1 life, but gain another
2
life. And then every other trigger just can get crazy.
You almost spilled your beer all over the computer.
I did. Almost. Cerulean Drake. Colorless and a blue for a 1/1 flyer. It has protection from red. Then you can sacrifice Cerulean Drake. Counter target spell that targets you. Seems like a nice little utility card.
Yeah. And it's a Drake. Goes in my Drake deck that I got to make at some point. Then we have Spectral Sailor. It's 1 for a 1/1 flash flying. Tap 3 and 1 blue. Draw a card.
Most of the time, that's on like a 3 mana card or something. And I think you just put this into any deck with Training Grounds in it, and you're happy. Yurok's Fenlurker for a black and a black. It's a 1/1. When Yurok's Fenlurker enters the battlefield, each opponent exiles a card from their hand, which is nuts. And then
its bonuses getting it
2 colorless and a black. It gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Nobody cares about that. But if you have this in Yurok's deck, they exile 2 cards from their hand. You reanimate this. This is cheap. It's easy. It's getting rid of cards, and it's for your opponents. This seems like a nice, cheap creature card.
Chandra, Novice Pyromancer. This is our uncommon Planeswalker. 3 and a red, 5 loyalty. Elementals, its +1 is elementals you control, get 2/0 until end of turn. -1, give yourself 2 red mana. -2, it deals damage to any target. I think those are pretty solid utilities for an uncommon
Especially
Planeswalker.
for uncommon, yeah.
Like almost like the choice is here than the rare. Yeah. Because you're not going to use the -1 the first turn because you just spent 4 to get her out. Not necessarily, but then you're...
And again, you put this on an elemental deck, and I think you're golden right there. Goblin Ringleader is seeing a reprint. getting into Modern Lethal, which is going to make
goblins go crazy.
Goblin Instigator or Warren Instigator went from like $3 up to almost 20.
I just sold I had 4 of the Goblin lands, the black red one.
Oh yeah.
Sold them for 27 a piece.
I have 4 of them as well.
Yeah, so I kept my one, and I was like, "Fuck these 3! I don't need these," and sold those, and they sold instantly. So that was pretty sweet. So we have Season of Growth, which is 1 colorless, 1 green enchantment. Whenever a creature you control enters the battlefield under your control, or whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, scry 1, and then whenever you cast a spell that targets a creature you control, draw a card. For an uncommon. Really cheap enchantment,
really powerful.
Yeah, and
like if you have an aura deck, this goes in it. If you have a token deck, this allows you to scry a lot. It's kind of like a little bit on either side. Like it's a good card if you're a token deck, or a good card if you're a Voltron deck. Mm-hmm. So it can go in either of them. Manifold Key, which is 1 colorless. It's an artifact. You can tap 1, tap it, untap another target artifact, or you can tap 3, tap it. Target creature can't be blocked this turn.
So it's like that
Voltaic Key.
Yeah, but that one you could untap itself, which whatever.
I don't think I noticed that.
It just said untap target artifact.
Okay.
And so this one just says untap another target artifact, but it also gives you the bonus of being able to give a creature
just being able to have more keys is always nice.
Yeah.
Moldervine Reclamation, 3 colorless, a black and a green for an enchantment. Whenever a creature you control dies, you gain 1 life and draw a card.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Sacrificing stuff, getting shit. Risen Reef. 1 green and 1 blue elemental. 1/1 when it enters the battlefield or another elemental enters the battlefield under your control. Look at the top card of your library. If it's a land, you may put it onto the battlefield tapped. If you don't put it onto the battlefield, put it into your hand. So at least you're at the very least drawing a card off of this guy,
and you're potentially ramping.
Mm-hmm. And then if you're playing more,
Oracle is a very good card, and this makes all of your elementals a Coiling Oracle. Mm-hmm. Very, very good.
Then we had Tombbound Lich, 1 blue and black, 1/3 zombie wizard, has Death Touch, Lifelink. When it enters the battlefield or deals combat damage to a player, draw a card and then discard a card.
A lot of value there.
Yeah, so you got lifelink, Death Touch.
You're able to sit back and block and gain a little bit of life, or just be aggressive with it and draw cards and discard them.
Yeah. And then our last... Are we going to talk about any commons, you think?
Nah.
Okay.
Cryptic Caves, which is a land. It taps for a colorless, or you can pay 1, tap it, sacrifice Cryptic Caves, draw a card, activate this ability only if you control 5 or more lands. This seems really good in Lord Windgrace.
Yeah.
Ta-da, or anything with Crucible of Worlds.
Ta-da. Did you just do a magic trick, Larry?
Fuck yeah.
Ta-da.
But this seems really good in any type of land recursion or something that has effects with lands in your graveyard. The Red Cavalier. Bam.
Ta-da. So that's our set review right there.
Ta-da.
How do you feel about this set?
The cards that we talked about, I thought were pretty solid. I'm not fully happy about the Mythix set, the Cavaliers.
Is it enough that you'd want to do a battle boxes? Because I'm on the fence of it for right now.
I like this a lot better than last year's core set.
Yes.
Let's say that.
But
last year I had no interest in doing the core set.
I don't know.
Should we just buy like another War of the Spark box? Or Modern Horizons?
Yeah, right. No, I bought enough Modern Horizons.
Okay. So yeah, I think this set, again, core sets are always tough because you have half the cards, and
I'm not impressed with the Mythic spot with those elementals, because I feel like you're gonna waste some money there.
A lot of the legends are Mythic, which also is disappointing. I mean, they are good and interesting, so I'm cool with that, but making it tougher to get them. I see what they're doing. They're probably trying to see how much they can push, like how many boxes can we get Commander players to buy for these legends. That's what, and like if we push legends, are they going to are they actually going to buy more boxes?
See, and that's where I'm having trouble here, is like the legends I want to buy is the Panharmonicon dude.
Yeah.
The Bird Wizard chick. I don't know if it's a chick or not.
It's a bird.
A bird. And I guess this guy's pretty good Kethis. But $23 good? No. I don't know, because then you have the Cavaliers, which I don't like as much, you know. They're not my favorite. Even the red one that's good isn't like my favorite. Like I want to go out and buy it. And so that's where it's hard for me to... The land is my big draw, you know.
Oh, the Lotus Field?
Yeah, I like that card a lot. So I guess we'll see. As it gets a little closer, maybe I'll change my mind. But at the moment, I'm
it's still like 3 weeks out, which is crazy.
Yeah, normally this gets revealed and we have, 2 weeks at the most?
Generally, like a pre-release, but I think they're doing it early because Arena's Arena gets it early.
Yeah.
I don't know. I do, I like the Planeswalkers a lot.
Yeah.
But the Cavalier cycle kind of fucks with me. And then I like the Legends.
Like you said, if the Cavaliers were in a rare spot, then I'd feel a little better.
Yeah, for sure.
And then put some good cards in
Like if you just took out maybe the death triggers on it.
Yeah.
And turned them rare, I'd be probably happier.
We could probably even just turn them rare and they'd be the same.
Maybe.
Then they'd be good rares and still be worth $3. All right. Well, that should do it for this week's episode. We'll see you next week, but you guys can follow us on Twitter
at CommanderSmiths.
And you can go to YouTube and check out our page and subscribe and like and share. And we still have this week for
Garruk's Dong!
Garruk's Dong! Put that on there. We actually didn't get anybody doing Garruk's Dong last week.
Yeah, well, I told you, it's really embarrassing. we can always go back to Dick Sleeves, but no, that was last month.
That was last month. So Garruk's Dong, and then actually we should. So you just hitting shit. Let's knock over beer. That's me. And then you guys can go to our Patreon. And
if you're awesome, you can go to our Patreon. If you're not, stay away. Not awesome people.
Only awesome people get it. And then lastly, go to our Gmail account. Shoot us an email.
Any questions?
Song ideas.
Will promptly respond.
That's if I'm by my computer. If I'm not,
probably respond once or twice and then leave and forget to respond. Specifically talking to Mr. Besh right now. I apologize.
I didn't even see that one.
Yeah, I was just got really into trying to make my Oathbreaker deck. So I'll get back to you.
And then
right now.
Next
afterwards.
week we should have what do we have going on? We don't know yet. We do have
next week.
Next week. What's our episode?
We're going to talk about.
Because we're recording it tonight.
Yeah, so. I'm doing Yogmouth Spotlight.
There we go.
And then we're going to talk about some jank tribes.
There we go. And then maybe some Smith specs in there. Maybe. Possibly.
I have some Smith specs ready. I don't know about Adam.
Adam just spent a bunch of money on Modern Horizons, so all I've been focused on is selling that shit.
Makes sense.
I shouldn't say it's shit because it actually sells absolutely crazy right now. And then some things like Renin 6.
Renin 6 is up.
I'm like, damn it, why did those sell so quick? Because
it's kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
People are still trying to figure out where Modern Horizons is going to do, but it's good. Yeah. It's a shakeup.
I'm glad that I bought as many as I did. It's been interesting, but man, it's a lot of work selling that many cards all at once. So that's why I don't have specs, but whatever. We'll see.
Whatever the fuck.
All right, we will catch you guys next week.
Talk to you later.
See ya. Bye.
Don't copy me.